Episode 3, Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Welcome to the Visionary Variety Podcast, where we cover cool stuff like photo, video, film, books, and technology. So, switch on your brain and enjoy the show.
Thanks everybody for listening in. This is our third episode of Visionary Variety Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Super excited. This is one of the biggest movies I think of last year. We're finally getting around to reviewing it, so forgive us if we're a little rusty, but we'll do our best. So we are going to be talking about spoilers. So sorry, if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want it to be ruined for you, stop living under a rock. Go and watch it at the $2 theater. Just go watch the movie because there's going to be lots of spoilers. So here we go. You've been warned. All right. So what were you guys' expectations for The Last Jedi before you saw it? Maybe even after finishing Episode 7. What were you expecting to see in the next movie?
For it to be better. No, I thought when they said when they called it The Last Jedi, it sounded very like The Last Samurai. I was like, oh man, like. Will there be an episode 9 if they're just going to kill everybody? I just didn't like the
Why
name.
do you think everyone's going to die?
Well, because Rey was going to be technically the last Jedi, but then you have Kylo. It's not. I don't know. It was when I was sitting there when I very first saw the trailer and Mark Hamill said the Jedi need to come to an end. Basically, I was like,
yeah,
oh boy, like episode 9 is going to be awful. It's going to be like. I don't know. I was thinking like Rogue One, Han Solo movie is gonna be more smugglers without Jedis, and that was episode 9. I was like, man, you're kind of supposed to go out with a bang, not bye.
Yeah.
And so,
well, speculations were running wild, that's for sure, because of the title and all that dark Jedi stuff from the movie, and I'm sorry, from the trailer.
Well, then for sure, I thought Rey was gonna go flip flop on us for a while, and then. I was like, no, she won't do that. She's going to gain Kylo's trust and then kill him. And then,
wow,
I didn't know.
That's dark.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't know. Like, it was very open ended, and that's what Disney wanted. But they did a good job of leaving it open ended.
Yeah. What about you, Angela?
Yeah, I kind of thought there would be like a lot of angst going on between Luke and or Rey, like them wrestling with the dark side, perhaps.
Yeah.
But ultimately. Not turning towards it.
Yeah.
I expected a good amount of death too. Like everyone.
That's an interesting way to put it. I'm expecting a good amount of death.
I mean, when you have a title like The Last Jedi, like Nate said, you expect, someone's going to end up dying. It's either going to be Luke or Rey, and well...
Definitely not going to be Rey.
Yeah, the whole franchise is built around Rey. It'd be one heck of a plot twist.
Oh my gosh,
if
she
Rey died,
died.
But I figured that would make a lot of people mad. So I don't think that would work.
No.
I also expected a good amount of people's backstories to be revealed in this movie.
And
you'd think that would have happened, huh?
Yeah, and that's one of my main complaints with the movie, that they didn't do that. Are we going to get into that a little later when we talk about our first impressions?
Oh, we will complain. There will be complaining.
Just a forewarning to all the people out there. If you don't like negative Nancy's, you come to the wrong episode.
Yeah. No, Angela's going to be our negative Nancy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to be, but I think it's unavoidable. I try.
Yeah. I'm going to be kind of like the neutral Natalie,
Neutral
like
Natalie.
No.
You ever heard of her?
Your name's Daniel, so you're Danielle.
I was going to say neutral Nate, but I mean, that name's already taken, so.
Oh, no.
I had a lot of expectations for this movie. Right after 7 finished, my brain just ran with it. And I was like writing its plot already in my head, like what would be awesome to see. But in the back of my head, beyond that, I knew that would never happen because it was too cool. Yeah. And they can't make you too happy.
Yeah.
Because then you get everything you want.
It seems like a lot of Star Wars fans seem to do that. Whenever a new Star Wars movie is about to come out, they come up with their own headcanons, and it seems like they seem to get disappointed when the actual movie comes out. That's why I try my best to not theorize so much.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I try, but
that's hard. That's why I leave it as the first teaser, second teaser, and then the trailer, and then I just stop because I'm already like,
a lot of people don't even watch
this.
Yeah,
a lot of people I've heard don't even watch the trailer. I'm like, that's kind of hard to do with Facebook and social media. So I was expecting, first of all, I was expecting to find out who Rey's freaking parents are. That was like my big thing. And I mean, never has anyone ever cared about parentage as much as we have with this movie.
Pretty much.
So I was also hoping to find out, about Snoke and, how he corrupted Kylo, kind of that little backstory when Kylo was young. Like, how did he reach Kylo if he's on this island and under, Luke's watchful eye? How did that, was there like a mission that went bad or something? I don't know. I was hoping to see Phasma not be like super lame.
Yes.
And actually be a hardcore like soldier with like, whatever.
Yeah, not have one fight scene where she dies after like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we waited 2 years and then she just died. Like, okay.
Yeah. And lastly, my big thing that this is what I was really hoping would be an entire movie worth, but it did not happen, and I knew it because it was just too cool, was I was hoping Luke and Rey would begin searching the galaxy for Force-sensitive young people, and they would start a new Jedi school.
Yeah.
Because, Luke lost his first Jedi school because of Kylo being crazy. And, I was hoping he'd, start over, be like, okay, we're going to do it right this time. We're going to get a bunch of, like, little, like, Force-sensitive people that are strong and, good character. And we're going to raise up, like, this awesome, like, ragtag army of, like, new Jedi, and we're going to go fight the First Order.
That'd been nice.
That would have been.
But no. I mean, I know that's kind of done in the books already with, I think it's the Jedi Academy series. But, I mean, so what? Do it again. Sue me,
No, we have to have a plot filled with angst. And
yes,
we can't have happy endings here.
I had an expectation that there was, I'm sure we already just said this, but there was going to be some links and connections and understanding. That was my biggest thing. The only thing I got out of that, it was Luke and Kylo's kind of backstory. How, and not really where Snoke came from, but how Snoke was kind of connected to Kylo.
Yeah.
And the next thing was how wise Snoke was, even about like the Skywalkers and
he's smart.
So he was smart, but I didn't get the connections that I was hoping that they would explain because we waited 2 years because last year was Rogue One, so that had nothing to do with this part of the story. So we waited 2 years. They had 2 years. I'm sure there was a lot more going on, and I'm sure they had less time to film because it takes so long to film and then edit and then deliver. But I was really hoping, at least before episode 8, I was like, who's Snoke? And is he as big as Yoda? That was my question.
That was your big concern.
Then why did we not see Luke until the end? Well, because now we know he was hiding, but then we watch episode 8 and he's done with the Force. It was like a total plot twist. Like what a spoof would have been when they handed him the lightsaber. You would have thought, oh yeah, now he's got it. He's gonna, and he just throws it over his shoulder. And I'm like, what is this, a spoof? Like this isn't space.
My brain was
Spaceballs.
Yeah. My brain had a what is happening moment right now. Like, did I really just see that? Did they really do that in this movie? Like, yeah. So once the movie was like totally done and you walked out of the theater, like what were you thinking? What was going through your head?
First off, I was thinking, so this would be the third generation of Star Wars. So we had back in 4, 5, and 6, and then we had 1, 2, and 3, and then we had 7, Rogue One, 8, and then we'll have Han Solo and 9. So this is the third generation. I am absolutely loving the visual effects, regardless of the storyline. So when we walked out, I was like, oh man, like I love the visuals. Like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Expectations and thoughts as I walked out, I was like, man, I don't know where they're going to go with episode 9. And if they do, it's going to be tough because it's going to be a totally different director now. It's going to go back to JJ.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, like, it's cool to kind of pass the baton, but like, where do you go now? Like, you buy Luke, and then Leia's not dead, even though, unfortunately, in real life, she's no longer with us. It's like, what? The actor that's actually still alive and breathing, and stuff.
That was a twist. I did not see that coming.
And I was hoping that episode 8 was going to be kind of like a reuniting we're gonna put the Academy kind of back together, like what Daniel said. We're gonna go and search the galaxy for Force sensitive people.
Yeah.
But no, he's gone. And I was like, well, like, where are you gonna go with this now? Because now he's gone.
Yeah.
You
know? And Rey has no mentor, although she has a book, so that kind of saved it. The fact that she has no one to teach her, she has the books to learn from, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I mean,
homeschool herself.
Unless homeschool
Jedi. Self-paced Jedi learning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless they come back as Force ghosts and help her out, because
every day.
Yeah, but I was like, well, where are they going to go with this now? I mean, yes, we have a new cast of people that, besides Leia, I mean, Mark Hamill's kind of out of the picture. Harrison Ford's out of the picture now, which I don't understand, and I just don't know where they're going to go with 9. So when I walked out, I was like, man, I love the visual. Storyline was good, but it's not where I thought they were going to go.
Yeah, and my head was kind of reeling like yours too. I was like, "Whoa, what?"
And I was, I was kind of like, I was like, but like, what's going to happen? And I know that's Disney's idea of leaving you with a question mark, but I was like, they didn't answer a lot of the questions. Now, either they're going to have to pick up a lot. Not 9's going to be a really long movie, and I'm sure for those people out there that say it ends at 9, I'm very sure we're going to have, at least if they don't sum it all up in 9, we're going to have episode 10 or part 2. Or
of course. Well, there's money to be made. It will happen.
So I don't know. I walked out. I loved the movie. I had problems with the movie. Love the visuals. And then I was just mind boggled the rest of it. I was like, but like how and why? Yeah. Why would you do that? And that was super cool. And so
how could you? What about you, Angela? What were you feeling when you walked out?
I felt very meh. That's the best way to put it. MEH. There you go.
Yeah, that is a spelling.
Meh. It is. It's official. It's an official word on the internet, apparently. But I thought the movie as a whole was just okay. Like the highlight for me was the visuals, like Nate was saying.
And no one's complaining or criticizing the visuals.
Yeah. I think anybody pretty much unanimously agree that the visuals were good. No, that's
yeah.
But no, I was just very disappointed with how, I want to say, lazy that the storytelling was, in that they didn't flesh out anyone's backstories as I'd hoped. As we talked about, there was no explanation for how Snoke seemed to have corrupted Kylo's heart early on.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting more from Rey's backstory, because one of my issues with episode 7 was how she seemed to be able to use the Force, super easily. And
saber fight.
Right, exactly. And I thought, well, maybe her backstory is that when she was young, she was trained as a Jedi, like under Luke or something. Yeah, and I was expecting that to be revealed in this movie, but no, just apparently her parents were nobodies and they sold her for drinking money.
As of
right
supposedly.
Now. Supposedly. I mean, Kylo told her that, and like, who knows if he's telling the truth. But they also stress in this movie that they want to do away with the past and not make it a big deal. So I'm wondering, are they using that theme to...
Is that a cop-out to not tell stories?
To just compensate for their bad storytelling. And
let the past die, as well as origin stories. Let those die too, so we don't have to tell them.
Exactly. And it's just, I don't know, that's the impression I'm getting, and it saddens me. It really does.
Yeah.
Because I'm really big on storytelling having a big influence on the movie. Yeah. I don't like it when the visuals like have to carry a movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they should never have to.
Right. So, yeah, for that reason, I'm pretty disappointed with the movie, because it ended up turning Rey into. Are you guys familiar with the term a Mary Sue character?
Like a perfect character can do everything she needs to do.
Yeah, like the term originated when fan fiction writers would like to insert their own character into an already established series and make them perfect and kind of like an avatar of the author.
Interesting.
Sort of. So that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from Rey, and how she can use the Force.
Pretty much has she failed
automatically. Exactly.
Has she failed or made mistakes? I don't. Maybe. But
I feel like maybe there's probably a few moments where she's maybe been hot-headed and overreacted, but I can't.
Yeah. But you're right. She can meet every challenge that comes her way.
Exactly.
It's just a little unrealistic how good she is at big things like the Force and the saber use.
If you look at episode 7, she had that kind of trippy vision, and most people would have freaked out. She did, but then she was fine.
Yeah.
And then in episode 8, she has the whole creepy mirror scene, and then she's fine. I'm like, what's wrong? Like I know you have questions, but like, this is kind of
you
trippy.
did that really well.
Yeah.
I would be flipping out.
I know.
Like, I want to see my parents, and then a double of you walks up to and comes in focus. I'm like, what? Like,
that was totally the Harry Potter mirror, by the way, from the basement of Hogwarts. You remember that? Harry Potter?
Yeah, no. I'm not remembering.
There was like a magical mirror
with Harry Potter.
There's a mirror that you go to, and it shows you what you want to see. And so she goes up to it, and I was like, "Oh, this is so like Harry Potter."
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of Galadriel's mirror, also in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I'm forgetting that. Remind me what that was.
What's up with all?
The water mirror. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shows you like the future.
Yeah, I can show you things that were, things that are.
Disney kind of had to have a mirror on the wall.
Thank you.
Disney had a very mirror on the wall, like, show me what I want to see, and it was like totally not what you wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks for nothing, stupid mirror.
Gosh.
Just gave me a little drug trip.
And I mean, like, my thing is like, okay, so Luke he's hidden away, and he's done with the Force. And he is finding a reason that he should stay on this island. Was to protect the books and the tree. And
he kind of didn't like it though. He wanted to destroy it, but at the same time, he was scared to.
Exactly. So he was hiding in fear, and then he didn't have the guts enough to make it, do something about it.
Yeah. Hence why, that character's kind of been compromised, sort of.
Yeah.
Then Yoda came and blew up the tree and said, "Go to work, buddy."
Puppet Yoda. Yeah.
That was interesting. I did not know Force Ghosts could summon bolts of lightning down.
Yeah. Why didn't he just do that to Snoke and just kill him?
I was about to say. Like, can you imagine how much damage that just Yoda could do if he can do stuff like that? He could wipe out the whole Force Throat or
my thing is when he passed, why did so much more happen? Like, when did he pass? In episode 5?
Oh, space.
Sorry.
We talk about Yoda? Sorry. Space.
Yeah, when did Yoda pass? Yeah, I think he was in 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so then episode 6 happened. I mean, like, if he has bolts of lightning, hello.
Maybe he's been training in the Force heaven. Jedi heaven.
Oh, snap.
Now he's stronger. I don't know.
I'm glad they wrote the puppet.
I didn't like about. I love that Yoda came back. It was perfect, and what he said was kind of cool. But I didn't like that he wasn't a blue ghost. Like, when Force ghosts happen, they are blue and ghosty and transparent. And he had a little blue glow. I know he had some glow around him, but it just was like, I kept thinking about it. I'm like, he's not really a Force ghost right now. Are they changing the canon of what a Force ghost looks like? I don't know. That's a minor detail, but it kind of threw me off.
I didn't even know.
And we'll see in episode 9.
Puppet Yoda was weird.
Yeah, that was another complaint I had. It's like, I know they made him a puppet to appeal to the original trilogy fans, but at the same time, he stands out. Yeah.
But he didn't even look like the original puppet. He just looked like a version of Yoda. I was looking at him, I was like, okay, look, I know the lenses are different. He's a digital. I'm sure when they filmed Yoda as a puppet, it was film. I'm sure
it's because he's a Force ghost now. But he looks better.
But my thing is like, okay, but he doesn't even look like the Yoda when he passed away. Like,
they use the same exact cast to make the puppet body. Like, they used as much as they could.
He just looked different. I don't know. Like, he looked like Yoda. I know it was Yoda. Sounded like Yoda. It was Yoda. But if they were gonna go the puppet version, to me he looked
different.
He looked a little off. But that's probably just me reading too much into the details. And the 2017 cameras instead of film cameras way back when.
Yeah. So my first impressions walking out of the movie was that it was surprisingly comical. Like, there was a lot of jokes. And I had just seen Ragnarok like a few weeks before. I'd seen Thor Ragnarok, and that movie was a straight up comedy, which is too much comedy.
I agree.
I felt like this movie had a lot more comedy than I expected, but it was kind of different. It wasn't like a joke for the sake of having a joke in the scene, but it was like relevant jokes. They were joking about what's really happening, and it might have been something that someone would have really said in real life. But so I'm not saying it was like Thor Ragnarok level comedy, but it was way more funny than I expected.
Well, I mean, they started the movie off with the joke.
Yeah, yo mama joke, yeah.
Pretty much.
Can you hear me now?
That was a little weird.
It was a combination of the "Can you hear me now" phone guy and your mama joke.
Yeah.
Star Wars appealing to the youth.
Oh,
nothing like appealing to the youth with your mama jokes.
First, we had Jar Jar Binks to appeal to the young children. Now we have your mama jokes for the teenagers.
Yep.
So it was funny, and it wasn't super serious in a lot of moments. Other moments it was very serious. It was really fast paced and a lot of adventure, a lot of that kind of questing kind of fantasy concept of just you got to go here to get this, to do this and do that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of that kind of a fantasy adventure sort of feel to it. And then, lastly, I was really impressed by what they did with the Force abilities and the lightsaber fights. They kind of took it to a new level.
Matrix.
There's a lot of what's that?
I said the scene at the end was very Matrix.
Yeah,
it totally was like a Matrix homage in there.
Saber.
Mm-hmm. But we saw them do a lot of new stuff with the Force that we have not seen in any other movies. Like the levels of control that Snoke had with moving people, and Luke reading Ben's mind when he was sleeping. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen Force projection. We haven't seen Force, meeting someone through the Force. We've heard a voice with Luke and Leia, and that was it.
Yeah.
But I mean, now they're like touching and getting sensory, input. So they really paved a lot of new.
They did a good job on that.
Yeah, that was very well done and cool and well thought out, I think.
Especially when Kylo was standing in his ship or wherever he was. I'm sorry if I don't remember exactly where he was. And
he was like in the bay of the ship.
Rey was on the island and the water splashed, and he looked down at his glove and water dripped. I was like, wow.
Yeah, and did you notice that behind him there was like sparks falling, and then behind Rey there was like water falling when it switched? Yeah. So it was like this cool like contrast of color temperature. Rey was cool and cold with blue and water. He was warm and hot with sparks in the spaceship. Cinematography was great.
Very cool.
Good color grading and choices with visuals. Like I said, no one's complaining about the visuals. Exactly. That's for sure. So we talked about a lot of stuff we didn't like, which it's obvious.
But what are some things? Scene with no shirt. Just checking.
That was weird.
No, it wasn't like weird. It's just she was kind of awkwardly kind of made it awkward. She's like, "Can you like put a shirt on or something?" And like she made it awkward, and I was like, "It's just he has."
It wasn't just her that made it awkward. He made it awkward by.
Yeah, and he basically was like, he basically in the silence was like, he didn't say it, but he's like, "No."
Yeah.
Like, why did that whole Force communication thing go on when he didn't have a shirt on? Did he choose to have it that moment right then and there, or what? It's kind of weird.
He gets himself all ready. He's like, "Okay, I'm ready." Initiate the connection.
And then he turns around. It's very dramatic.
Snoke was the one doing it. If he's telling the truth, when he said that he like bridged them in the Force, so
he's Snoke's being all weird and kinky.
Oh, I'm gonna get her. Yeah, he's being a creeper.
Yeah, but I don't like that. If Snoke is the one doing that, then how did they explain the scene at the end where they look at each other when he's in the control room and she's getting on the Millennium Falcon?
Oh yeah.
So they had a moment when Snoke was dead.
Snoke was he could still sabered in half.
Could still bridge. He could still bridge someone with the Force, and the Force still do that thing while he's dead. Oh. I don't think that's too big of an issue. It's the Force. Confusing. You do whatever you want.
Apparently,
what is he? That's my question. That's what I didn't like is how they didn't explain what he is.
He looks like a giant version of Gollum.
Andy Serkis.
He's played by the same actor too.
He looked like I'm like, what are you, Dark Sidious's cousin or something? Because like, who are you? And are you on the? And when Dark Sidious doesn't he say something about the outer rim or the outer?
Yeah, there's a reference in one of the new canon books where Darth Sidious mentions a great power out in the rim or out in the unknown regions, because there's apparently unofficially mapped regions of Star Wars galaxy, and he says there's something out there that's powerful that I don't know what it is, but I can feel it and I can sense it and it's out there. So that could have been Snoke. And
but then that makes you wonder if Darth Sidious knew doesn't know who but can feel it. Is that the story when he's telling the young version of Anakin Skywalker that he killed somebody in his sleep? Like, was that him?
No. That he's talking about Darth Plagueis, his master. He killed his master.
But I'm just saying, like, did Darth Plagueis become him?
Yeah, we'll never know. They'll never tell us.
Yeah,
it's not that we'll never figure it out. It's that they will never tell us. So what are some things you liked about the movie? Let's be nice for a little bit.
I like I'll say it again. I love visuals. I love all the visuals. I love the droids. I love seeing the dark version of BB-8, but I was very sad that we didn't see them fight.
Dude,
that would have been awesome.
I was like, there has got to be a fight. It's got to be. Nothing happened.
Of course not.
I was for sure like they were gonna like. It looked like it probably would have looked silly, like two bowling balls hitting each other. But they have like, make it awesome. They have like, they have. I don't know exactly what it's called, but I'm gonna call it like their little tasers. They have wires. They have
oh my gosh, just tase each other over and over.
Yeah, they have the cool, the connecting wires that pull them around.
Yeah, like could have been like a version of Spider-Man and then like slammed into somebody like a wrecking ball. And then,
hey, before I forget, did y'all notice how on Canto Bight the guard just picked up BB-8 like it was nothing and just tossed him down the stairs?
Yeah.
But in Force Awakens, like no one could pick him up. He was super heavy.
Huh.
Oh, you know what? He should have been even heavier because was he still full of coins at that scene in Canto Bight?
But the person that threw him out, was he human?
Yeah, he was a little human guard. He just like picked him up, tossed him.
Maybe gravity was different. I don't know.
Plot hole.
No.
BB-8's been on that BB-8.
Good idea though. A few things I like. I mentioned the Force techniques. There's a lot of new Force techniques shown. I like the new spaceships. There's a lot of cool stuff. There was a walking AT-ST. There was that ship that they stole on Canto Bight, which is really cool, kind of an alien design. I felt like there's a lot of new spaceships, new technology shown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's really pretty.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like the new. Is it the new? I'm gonna say the name wrong. AT-ST, the walkers.
Yeah.
Those look cool. I mean, like they were kind of overdone with the armor, but they look really cool.
Yeah. And the random gorilla knuckles, like why are they have knuckles going under their feet? I don't understand.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like, do y'all like stand up and punch?
Yeah. Grab things.
No, I think the one part in the movie that actually made me go, oh man, that was pretty rad actually, was the part where Holdo took the lead resistance ship and launched it into hyperspeed right into Snoke's ship. That was pretty amazing.
Why has that concept never even happened in any movie? I can't think of any sci-fi movies or books where they have gone light speed or rammed something into something else and boom.
I mean, I guess because it's a suicide tactic and normally the heroes don't do that.
Well, I mean, they're so far in the future, they could do it automatic, like autopilot.
Like, why did Hondo have to fly the ship? Like, seriously, there's no autopilot, no droid AI that can do this? Like, I don't get that. It's dumb.
I mean,
one of those plot things that just had to happen.
Yep.
Having logic to it probably wasn't a good idea on that storyline. She had to make a dramatic exit.
You can enjoy this movie, leave your logic at the door.
It's pretty much, she was pretty, it was pretty like, she was different as a character. And then she started becoming really annoying. And then all of a sudden she softened up and then she killed herself to be the hero. I was like, you're a really interesting character.
I don't like, this is a plot device I don't like, or rather a character device that I don't like in stories. When, in this case is Hondo, where she had a plan, but she let everyone, well, at least, Poe and, people who were following him, she let people believe that she was less than what she was, where she was totally innocent. She didn't do anything wrong. She had a great plan. She was going to, force, whatever, light speed ram the ship. But she let everyone believe otherwise the whole time. And it actually hurt, events, and it affected things in a negative way, whereas people thought she didn't have a good plan.
Right.
She could have just come clean, said, hey, I have a plan. I'm going to remote run the ship into that ship, and, lying. Maybe she could lie so that so they don't say, oh, don't kill yourself.
Right.
Like she could, make a little lie, a white lie, and let everyone know, I have this awesome plan. Don't worry. But no, she didn't do that. She let everyone think she was like worthless and didn't have a plan. I hate when that kind of stuff happens in stories.
Can someone explain what she is to Princess Leia?
Yeah, she went to like, she was royalty of some kind. And when her and Leia were young, she went to the school to train to be a political whatever back on Alderaan.
So they're like best friends forever, kind of.
Yeah, they got like a history and stuff, and also her crazy hair. I learned that the planet she comes from was a very conservative planet, and so her hair color is just like another way for her to be a rebel, like to fight. I think her planet may have been aligned with the Empire, and she left, that whole thing. So she's like me.
Well, my biggest thing is if Princess Leia was such a big person on hope, we got this, it's going to be okay. I don't know the outcome, but we got this.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't know, everybody's different, I'm sure, but what she did not do was give them hope. She definitely did not even say just like, hey, I don't know
Hondo,
what's
you
gonna
mean?
happen.
Hondo didn't give anyone hope?
No, like she didn't even say trust me. Like she was just like, I got this. It's not your problem. Don't know what to do. She made it seem like she was not really anybody, like with no plan. And then
she quoted Leia. She used that really cheesy quote. She's like, "If Leia were here, she would say." I'm like, "Shut up,
but
shut up right now."
But you're not Leia though, because Leia's unconscious. You got to be helpful here. You got to say you can't repeat somebody else's. Like you really got to believe it too. And so she was like, I know that she, her role was kind of mandatory in the movie, but she at points I'm like, you're irritating. Like, I'm like, I understand Poe. He was being hard headed. He was supposed to be kind of like a Han Solo. And if anybody else is paying attention in the scene when he's in the spaceship arguing with her, did he look very Han Solo? Yes, he did. He had the gun strapped to his leg, and he had the blue jacket like he did when he was on when Solo was on, what's the name of the snow?
Hoth.
When he was out there, he had the blue jacket, white, the brown pants, and the gun strapped to his leg. And then this version of Poe, he runs out on the ship and he has like a different color jacket, white, and the pants and the gun blaster strapped to his leg with the boots. I was like, are you trying to be Han Solo? And he basically had the same, I'm going to do it regardless. But it was a lot of unnecessary back and forth, in my opinion. I really liked the whole scene. I liked the movie. And I know she was kind of the part of the movie.
Yeah. Have you noticed how, like, what is it called? A coup, or when you take over the ship and like rebel against the captain? What is it called?
Mutiny.
Mutiny is like such a big plot point in so many military movies, whereas in reality, like you will get court-martialed and like maybe put to death.
No. Or
good guys with good character are always doing mutinies.
Poe just got like a slap on the wrist and he was okay, I think.
Oh, tisk tisk. Don't do that again.
You scoundrel.
You naughty boy.
She looked like she reminded me of the aliens. I said this earlier when we actually finished the movie. When Obi-Wan went to the planet to where the stormtroopers were being cloned, and that alien,
she did look like she's so tall and skinny.
The alien figure like greeted him at the door and like was really creepy. That's what she reminded me of. So like, what you guys like? What were themes and characters that y'all thought of this episode 8? I'm sure we talked a lot about episode 7, but episode 8's kind of new territory. They're really trying to bring out different characters, and so we were introduced to a lot of different planets.
Yeah,
and the new Cantina,
Cantina 2.0.
Yeah, there was a lot of creatures in there. And I'm like, what is that? Like, what is that?
So many aliens
and a lot of droids and a lot of like, I don't know. It just was so like
they were trying.
So characters and themes is the next thing we're going to talk about. What did y'all think about episode 8, the characters and themes, and where they're going to go with some of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've all noticed that they try to push girl power a lot in this one.
What?
Yeah, I mean, of course. How could it's the 21st century? Of course, they gotta push girl power. But
guys are stupid and women are like the victors all the time.
Exactly. So, and I'll be the one to say that I have a little bit of an issue with that, because literally it seems like every single character that actually did anything productive in this movie, for the most part, were women, and that the guys were either just being hot-headed and kind of jumped into action too quickly, like Poe. I'm just saying what the writers did, man. Or they either, like Luke, he just kind of sat around for the most of the movie, was angsting until the very end. So I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that kind of writing style where they try to push one thing so hard.
It was very unbalanced.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of kind of skewing one way over another. Oh, that's probably the main thing I noticed with the characterization in this movie.
Yeah. How about you, Daniel? What thoughts and opinions on themes and characters?
I mean, I liked, Rose is the new big character. I liked her. Finally got an Asian person in the whole Star Wars universe, finally.
Gotta cover all their bases.
Yeah, you got women power, got a black guy, got Asian, we're good.
You got
a female hero.
You got the, what's his name, DJ? the hacker guy that they hired.
We got a stutter.
Yeah,
we got a disability guy. We have an older woman in a midlife crisis with purple hair.
Mm-hmm.
We're good. Like, they met all their check boxes that they set up before they wrote the story. All the things they had to get in the movie, they got.
Yep.
So characters, I liked Rose. She was cool. She had sort of a small world, just fixing and cleaning the bottom of the ship. But then she got like introduced to this big plot. And she actually had a role to do.
As all Star Wars heroes start out, just being nobody, and then
as nobody,
get thrown into this craziness and walk out a hero.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the big theme that I picked up, was that nobodies can be somebody. And you kind of see it with everyone.
It's pretty much been a theme throughout Star Wars as a whole, throughout the years.
Luke was, nothing. And
even Anakin came from nothing, but then he became, the big bad instead.
He literally, half of him literally came from nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Now Luke is kind of an interesting spin on that, because he was a farm boy with moisturizing farmer, but at the same time he was a son of Darth Vader, so sort of like behind the scenes he was like a big deal, but he didn't know it.
Right.
And that's where that big surprise comes. But Rey,
very King Arthur.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, but like the King Arthur was a king, and then he had to give his son, at least in the newest version, he had to send his son away to basically never know he was royalty. And the son kind of knew, but he was kind of a secret. So I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just.
Did he say "I'm your father" in the movie?
No.
Oh, darn! That'd have been great.
Disappointed.
Missed it. So nobody can be somebody is a big theme that you see. People just rising up and being heroes, and there's a need, so they meet it, even though they're maybe not have the skills for it yet, or they have to get all courageous and stuff and do crazy things.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of that, and we even see it in the very end with Broom Boy. He's a nobody. He's a little slave kid,
right?
Just like Annie, actually. It's kind of weird.
Kid.
He's a new Darth.
And we see a hint of something bigger, because he's looking up in the sky. He's obviously got the Force, and he's inspired by the Rebels, and he's just like, ooh, what's going to happen with this little kid? Is he going to become somebody? Hopefully he's not going to become the next supervillain, because nobody rescued him. But we'll see.
There's an ongoing joke between Daniel and I that there's always a chosen one. It was like, Anakin, you're the chosen one. Luke, you're the chosen one. Leia, you're right there. Okay, never mind. Who's Rey?
You're kind of chosen.
And then it's like, Kylo, no. And then at the end, Broomstick Boy. It's like, he might be
Broom
the chosen
Boy.
one.
Broom Boy.
He's the new chosen one. Yeah. So there's that. Of course, the next theme is women get crap done, which, it's not too far off from reality, but it was really on the nose with this movie. It's like, women power, men are just silly and do bad decisions, but women are everything.
Yep, of course.
And I like more balance.
Yep.
I want to see some women leaders make mistakes. I want to see some guys do some good stuff for once.
I guess maybe they thought they did make mistakes with Holdo, and that she didn't communicate well enough, and therefore she's flawed. But I mean, she ended up being like the big hero kind of in the end.
Oh yeah.
So
killed her off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not gonna respond to that.
I wasn't really attached to that character. I just didn't feel like her acting was just kind of off and weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the purple hair.
The purple hair.
Trying to be a teenager or something. Yeah. And then the final theme, is let the past die. So there's a lot of that. Right. A lot of the Jedi are over. And I really love that intense scene where Kylo and Rey I think they're about to fight. And one of the ending scenes in the big ship, and he's like, let's join powers. Though, what did he say? No more Jedi, no more Sith. I think he said that.
Something like that. Basically, let's start over and build something new.
Like, and I love that idea of just not with Kylo as a leader.
I still can't take him seriously.
It was very Darth Vader.
Yeah, it was very Darth Vader. I saw a lot of parallels, by the way.
When he handed his hand out to Luke, he's like, Luke, I'm your father. You and I can, rule the galaxy. And then Kylo's like, Rey, me and you, we can end it all. And I'm like, okay, you're just like, you're beating around the bush of what Vader said.
Well, Vader
he worships Vader, so.
How would he know that he did that to Luke exactly?
Okay, true. Yeah. Well, what about this? What if Rey did take his hand and says yes? What did they do after that? When did they stop holding hands? Like, wouldn't that be weird? Like, okay, I'm holding your hand. What did you actually plan on doing with my hand after this? Are you gonna like spin me around, or are we gonna walk
They're gonna
somewhere?
just walk off into the ship holding hands, being all
Awkward.
cute.
They're gonna disappear.
It's weird. Like, what do you do after? She wasn't even on the ground? Like, he wasn't gonna help her up, was he?
Maybe it's just a handshake. I don't know.
Maybe kiss her hand.
The cheesy Power Rangers fist bump.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about that idea of letting the Jedi Order die and everything like starting
I can
over?
understand their reasoning, considering the Jedi seem to make all of their worst enemies. What with Darth Vader and Kylo Ren.
They're not the greatest.
No, they're not very good at keeping the peace.
Back to the whole rule. There's always 2 Sith only in each movie,
which is stupid.
Yeah,
it's gonna come out and say that's the dumbest thing ever.
Can you imagine if there was just like a bunch of powerful Sith roaming around at once?
Yeah, it'd be
well, there was in the New Republic stories, and they all killed each other. I guess there was there was a Sith civil war.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, well, they didn't go over too well because they're all power hungry and stuff, which makes sense because they're villains. But then eventually, I think it was Darth Bane was like, no, now there's only 2.
Okay.
But then I'm like, really? Like, if you want to take over the galaxy with evil stuff, you're gonna limit yourself to 2 people and let the Jedi just be everywhere?
I mean, there's a lot of training that comes to, but you could be force sensitive. Well, there's probably somewhere because Star Wars is such a big galaxy. When there's places Kylo and Rey probably don't even know about that have force sensitive people.
They've never even touched on.
Like the Broom Boy. Broom Boy can use the Force apparently, and he has no training.
I mean, you saw Rogue One, and Donnie Yen's character, I forget his name. He was not a Jedi. Yeah, he was not a Jedi, but he had trained himself and he was force sensitive, but he was not a Jedi.
Yeah, he wasn't a force user, but he was force sensitive.
Yeah, I mean, and then he taught himself basically, though he was blind, he basically trained his body to be the best it could be with the ability that he had before. And so imagine if he became a Jedi, holy crap.
Oh, man. Be awesome.
That would be pretty sweet.
Someone said he would have had the yellow lightsaber, the white one.
Yeah, that'd been cool. In episode 1, 2, and 3, you see how well formed and how almost political the Jedi have become, and that's a big weakness. I mean, things like you can't have feelings, you can't fall in love. Like that's a weakness because of human nature is involved, and like that's just grounds for corruption and secrets and bad stuff.
Right.
When you don't let that happen.
It was frowned upon when Anakin and oh man, I forgot her name. Oh crap. Padme really wanted to be intimate. They really couldn't be intimate because they had
because of the rules.
Secret.
So even though if you just look at it at a quick glance, Jedis are the good guys. They're saving the galaxy, but they've got a lot of internal issues that need to be worked out. And the only way to really work that out is just kind of to destroy the whole system that they've made over the past, I don't know, a few hundred years or whatever. And in episode 8, they reveal there's a religion behind it, which is interesting. They've never used that word before that I remember in Star Wars canon, and they've never hinted at any scriptures or old books or ancient whatever. So that's really exciting to me to see a little bit of world building coming in that's super open ended. Like they could do a lot of stuff with that in other movies. Even if they're doing movies into the past, they could reference those books. They could have those books in the stories. That island was made with what did they say, 1,000 generations ago or 1,000 years ago? I think it was 1,000 generations. So that island is ancient, which is named Octu, by the way.
Octu.
And bless you. And so these books are old, and they can do a lot of stuff with those. And Jedi religion, they could do stuff with that. So I like that, but still, I think it's a good idea to start over, make a new system that actually takes into consideration human nature and feelings and being balanced with emotions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing like Jedis don't use the Force for attack, only for knowledge. I'm like, what? That
sounds like
bunch of hypocrites right there. Yeah. So I like that. I like the leaving old things, and it kind of goes along with the whole making a new trilogy and this new generation of Star Wars. They need to open it up and they need to change things a little bit, and they need to open up possibilities for new stuff to happen that would never have been considered in the old movies. It's just the nature of filmmaking. that spans decades. You gotta be able to update it.
Yeah, as long as they don't take that point and try to like talk
It could
down
go
to the
bad.
old trilogies.
Yes, it could. Yeah, it definitely could go south. Yeah. So we're closing out the episode here. We're almost at the end, but I want to end with what are we looking forward to, or expecting, or dreamingly hoping for episode 9.
I don't even know anymore, honestly, after this movie.
Yeah.
I want Princess Leia to have a lightsaber.
A Mary Poppins lightsaber with an umbrella attached.
There's something that I want to be explained that probably won't be explained, but do you recall when Luke was telling the story of how Kylo basically turned evil and he took 5 of Luke's Jedi apprentices with him?
Oh, he said that?
Yeah,
I missed
he
that.
did. Whatever.
Well, that's the Knights of Ren, I guess, right?
I'm not sure exactly,
so
or if they were
get episode 9.
I mean, it'd be cool if they get brought up again, but I doubt it.
Where are they now?
I know.
I'm very
curious. So the
curious
episode 9 is going to be held off, and then we're going to get a movie called Kylo Ren, The Knights.
A Star Wars story.
Yeah, The Knights of Ren, a Star Wars story.
Oh my gosh. Jabba the Hutt, a Star Wars story. Everything Star Wars story.
Oh, then you know they already talked about Boba Fett having his own movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if episode 9 is going to be a while.
Well, isn't there a date set for it?
I don't know. I know that JJ is supposed to be filming, and but for a date, I'm hoping next year.
Yeah,
this year.
I'm thinking 2019, but maybe.
Yeah, it looks like December 20th, my birthday, 2019.
Ooh.
So
cool.
I love it.
My birthday present.
Yeah, my birthday is at a bad time of year as far as Christmas and gifts are concerned, but it's in the movie world, it's great because Star Wars and Lord of the Rings have always been on my birthdays like week. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm expecting for them to explain quite a bit where they have, but at the same time, my expectations need to be lowered because they're probably
pretty bad.
Yeah, so I don't.
It's bad when you say that. Like, I need to lower my expectations for the sequel. Like, you should never have to say that, but you do.
But in this case, the way they presented number 8, you kind of should because you don't really know what's going to happen now because they went with a totally different, at least in my opinion, they went with a different plot twist and a different outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm expecting really only 2 things that I could even think of was, of course, the Rim planets. I think they're going to finally respond. Either there's technical issues or they're scared of, like the bad guys getting after them because they're responding to the not the rebels. I keep calling them rebels. What are they called now? Resistance.
The resistance, yeah.
So I think the Rim planets that are on the resistance side, I think they're going to finally come in for a big surprise rescue somehow.
Whoa.
When maybe Hux does something. Wait, is Hux still alive? He got smashed against the. Yeah,
I think he's still alive.
Yeah, he's got to be. It didn't show him his dying, so he's still.
I wish he was dead though.
It's a tool.
Yeah, exactly. Tool. That was the word I would use to describe him.
He's like the redheaded stepchild of Snoke.
Oh my gosh.
Poor guy. He tries, but he just doesn't deliver.
He's just super like sweet guy in real life.
Yeah.
He's annoying.
Yeah, so
him as a person, he's really cool, but him as a character, I'm like, ugh.
I see some friction between Hux and Kylo Ren happening as far as control of things and decision making. But I think the Rim planets will come, ta-da, and save the day. And I'm wondering if Luke will follow through with his promise to Kylo and appear as a Force ghost to pester him. That would be so great.
I fully expect him to come back. He's got to come back.
Yeah.
I hope he appears to both Rey and Kylo.
Yeah.
I think
that would be cool. Guide her a little bit, apologize for being a jerk, losing faith in everything.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about the Force, the planet? I'm sorry, the island being like so Force connected and just like that yin yang kind of thing going on?
I mean,
as in where Luke was hanging out at?
Yeah, Octu, yeah.
I liked it. I've liked it since the beginning. It was quite hilarious to see that there was actually people that lived on the island. Like,
yeah, little things, little nuns.
They look like salmon. They look like sardines. When I first saw them, they looked like a bunch of sardines. Anyways, or mini fish. And like they were not a big fan of Rey because she kept messing up stuff.
That was great, yeah.
That was pretty good.
And porgs are different.
Oh gosh.
I think they're incredibly creepy. They just look like they're depressed all the time. And then they kind of
what else did the Jedi students eat every day? They had to wake up and make pork breakfast tacos.
Pork tacos.
Pork taco.
Oh my gosh! Did they stare at them the whole time when they?
Yeah,
ate?
they whimpered and they shivered their little chins.
Oh.
I was really hoping Chewie would just take a big old bite out of it. Like, eat it. You know you want to.
Oh my gosh.
But he didn't.
That would have
been messed up.
Movie.
I like the island and how they finally explained the Force. In all the movies, the Force is still left very elusive. They don't do a whole lot of pinning things down, which is a good thing. Kind of leaves it open to stories and it leaves it open to the viewer's imagination. But in this movie, they really tried, at least, to explain it in some very concrete terms. Like they showed the visuals of life and death. They showed the order and the chaos and the light and the dark. And I don't know, it's really caught me off guard. I was like, whoa, there's actually
Are you talking about the scene when Rey's sitting down?
Yeah, when she connects with the Force or whatever, reaches out, with the Force and sees
that was
things.
an awesome scene, but at the same time, I'm glad Mark Hamill had humor.
That was funny. Oh, it was so funny. Do you feel it? Yeah, that was really funny.
I'm glad they did something like that. I mean, there was a lot of humor, and I enjoy humor.
I would have done that. I would have tricked her.
Yeah. Crazy island guy. He's basically Yoda.
He's been alone for a long time.
He's basically Yoda with the humor.
Yeah. Yoda was funny and tricksy too. So
yeah.
I didn't get the pit that went down, and that was sort of like the dark side balance to the whole Force concept of this island.
Well, you saw him freak out. He's like, Rey, like yelling because it was like, I'm like, but you live there.
I feel like I just have to assume that maybe Kylo went down there and maybe connected with Snoke somehow through the dark side of the Force, or there's this huge dark side of the island and Kylo went bad and maybe there's a connection.
Would Kylo have been to that island though?
Yeah, that's where all the young Jedi were training under Luke.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Remember the huts?
If Kylo was there originally,
yeah. So he was brought. He had to have been brought to that planet without knowing where he was as a child by Luke and by Leia and Han.
But then, how did he leave?
That we don't know anything.
That doesn't make sense.
That is where he trained all the Jedi, because that's where the huts were. That cave with that thing in there, the little yin yang thing on the ground. I mean, he mentioned. I thought it was pretty clear that that's where he trained the young Jedi before Kylo went bad.
Interesting.
And, he burned down. Remember that scene where he's burning down the building and he's killed all the young Jedi? Yeah. That's on that island.
Is it? Okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Take your word for it.
Pretty sure. I mean,
no, I'm not. It's not I'm not disagreeing. I just was like, what?
Yeah, but I missed that part.
I mean, there's a chance that I'm wrong. Maybe it was somewhere else, and that
you're most likely right. I just wasn't. I didn't catch that.
Yeah. Just the main thing is confusing is how in the heck did Kylo get off that island, and how is he not able to find where Luke is if he's got off?
Maybe he walked through the mirror and he didn't find his way back.
Yeah, that mirror was dumb. I liked. There was a little bit of it that I kind of grasped onto, like she's seeing the future and the past of herself, like what could be, and when it followed the trail of her future selves into this little poof of cloud. It was mystery, she doesn't know what she's going to become. She's undecided maybe. With the Force, in canon, from what I understand, you can't predict the future accurately with the Force. You can only see what could be. So, if someone has a Force vision of the future, it's a potential outcome of current circumstances. So it could totally change based if something outside you changes. What happens will be totally different than your Force vision.
Yeah.
So there's that. So if they're following through with that and keeping that true, is you can't totally see the true future just right off the bat with the Force.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
What do you guys think of that mirror scene and the that whole drug trip thing?
Weird.
It didn't really help at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I
they
think
didn't bring
it
it
was
up at all.
Disney's way. It was just Disney's way of showing off their visuals.
Yeah.
Because what? I mean, it was trippy as heck and it looked really cool. But
Doctor Strange going on.
But what? I sat there the whole scene, and then the next scene happened. And I was just like,
what?
I think I leaned over to Daniel because he was there watching it when the first time I saw it, and I was like, huh? And I was like, what did I just, what?
Were there any consequences to her seeing that?
Yeah.
There's she stared into some sort of the dark side, basically, right? It's open to the dark side, and yet she seemed to have no consequence from that afterwards.
Yeah, there should be consequence.
So she falls in the hole because originally in her vision it was dark and nasty and stuff was growing out of it. Then she goes back and it's normal and clean, and it just falls into a cave and she falls into water, and it's very Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And then she walks up to this mirror, and I was like, I thought she was going to travel somewhere, and she walks up to this wall and then just has this moment. And I was like, so you basically just fell to go talk to a mirror.
Yeah.
Fell down the rabbit hole.
Did nothing for you.
Saw a bunch of yourselves and didn't learn anything. Okay.
And you didn't freak out.
Yeah.
And she walked away and she was fine. Because, it's normal to see a whole bunch of your versions.
Yeah. Nothing weird about that.
And it kind of tripped me out a little bit because, like if you think about it, you walk up to a mirror, you can see behind you, right?
If there's two mirrors.
You can see the wall. Well, there was one mirror.
Right.
But then all of a sudden it was like looking through two mirrors. It was very bad.
Yeah, it kind of took her to like another place mentally, like weird. Kind of like when she touched Luke's saber and she had like this force vision, force experience, sort of like that. Weird.
Yeah. My question is, she's totally cool with whatever happens in life because she has a creepy vision and then she has a mirror scene and she's still okay.
She's just tripping out throughout all the movies. She has way too many visions and sees too many weird things, and she just takes it on stride.
And she's not weirded out when Kylo just pops out of nowhere. And he's like,
she's acting like this has all happened before.
You're super chill. Like
Mary Sue right there.
Like, I mean, don't be afraid. By all means, don't be afraid. But you're really chill about this.
Yeah.
Like,
so many questions, so little answers.
Answered.
Yeah, I don't expect to get too many of them in the next movie.
Yeah,
it's kind of along for the ride. Did you guys hear about Rian Johnson's trilogy? He's the one who wrote, episode 8, and I think he was involved in maybe like episode 5 or 6. So basically, he had come out a few months ago saying that he said, "I'm going to make a Star Wars trilogy of my own. It's going to be totally new characters, no one you've ever seen before, and it's going to be in a new area of space that we've never seen in Star Wars before." How do you guys feel about that?
Well, my tone.
I'm totally cool with it, but this movie I'm very concerned. I think Daniel and I talked about this a while back that episode 8 probably just ruined his chances. Probably
it might have
because it was such a dud.
I mean, they made money, so monetarily, yes, it was a success. But like reputation-wise and critics, like there was a lot of negativity about this movie. So I don't know. If you get blacklisted by Disney by not helping their cause, then you probably don't have much chance of making another movie after that. So we'll see. But I mean, I think it's exciting because finally seeing something new, something not Skywalker related. It could be in any time era. He could go 1,000 years in the past. He could go 100 years into the future. We don't know. So it could be about Broom Boy, but then again, that's a character we've seen. But that would be cool. Would you guys like to see a movie about Broom Boy growing up?
Sure, why not? At this rate.
Yeah, because he's the chosen one.
Anything, please.
I feel like they're going to make movies about all the side characters in the Star Wars universe eventually.
Yes. The Broom Boy, a Star Wars story.
Oh my god, I'm going to make that. I'm going to Photoshop that.
Oh my gosh, please do.
That's going to be good. Yeah,
especially when the movie comes out and we're all able to see some of it on YouTube and stuff. You can take the glimpse of where he's looking up into space, holding the broom, and be like, "Boom, Star Wars text, the Broom Boy, a Star Wars story."
I looked up Broom Boy. I read everything I could, and I think it's in the scripts or somewhere. It's officially written down that his name is Tamiri Blag.
No, it's not. I refuse that to be his name.
Tamiri, and his little friends have names too.
Shorten his name to Tim. That's his name.
Timmy.
Timmer.
All right. Well, it's been fun. Thank you guys for chiming in. Thanks for joining us, Angela.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week.
I was the Last Jedi. Oh my God. You do that way too well.
Should I do that?